Peace be upon you all and welcome to the channel. In this second video regarding the Arabic tutorial, we will discuss or we will elucidate, I should say, the diacritics in Arabic. And the diacritics are very essential to reading and speaking Arabic. Because they have the same function as a vowel in English or in German or in French. The reason is, in Arabic, we do not use vowels in every single word as opposed to Latin-based languages such as English. In Arabic, for you to enunciate in a particular manner, you need a diacritic. So if I want to say ba as opposed to bu or bi, for example, I need a diacritic for each one of the three sounds you heard. Or ba and bi, I need a diacritic. We do not add vowels. So I do not add a ba then an alif to give the ba sound, or a ba then a ya to give the B sound, as opposed to Latin-based languages. So in this tutorial we will discuss the diacritics, how each letter is pronounced differently depending on the diacritic, and we will also cover the special letters that I mentioned in the previous video, because they are affected by diacritics in a particular manner. And also we will discuss how to identify if a vowel is actually a vowel or if it functions as a consonant. Before we start, or rather before we continue, we will cover the types of diacritic first. Then we will see how each letter is affected by the different diacritics, followed by the special letters and the differentiation between vowels and consonants. Firstly, for diacritics, we have 4 types in total. We have one that appears above the letter, and I'll take the letter ba for reference. The diacritic appears, actually, you know what, I will write the base first, and then each diacritic I will give it a different color for emphasis. Ba and ba. There is a 5th type. However, the 5th type involves a fusion of 2 of the 4 types. So I will leave that 5th fusion at the end. Now let us choose, I'll choose blue, it's my favorite color. There is a diacritic that appears as a diagonal slant, as such. Or it could be at this angle. Sometimes you see it straightened. Sometimes, it is not very common. The common form is for it to be slanted. I normally write it with an acute angle in mind. Some people, though I do not see it often, write it with an obtuse angle or an acute angle from the left side. I prefer to do it, and this is the common way, you will see it in books as well, the acute angle, or the positive gradient from linear coordinates or a linear graph. It is similar to the accent, I believe it was either the écoute or the graph in French. I keep forgetting which one is angled at which. People who speak French could correct me in the comments or inform me in the comments below if you would be so kind. So it's similar to this. I believe this is the écoute, or was it the graph? I forgot my French. So we have this one. We have a similar one to it, the only difference is instead of being atop the letter, it is beneath the letter. Then we have a small vowel, very small vowel, to fit atop the letter. Then we have an Arabic 0, which is a small circle. I'm drawing them larger here to highlight them. Normally, these diacritics are drawn quite small compared to the body of the letter. These 4 shapes are the diacritics. I will write their names in English to transliterate them. However, with the fatha, or this one, I am quite hesitant because it has a letter that is not in the Latin alphabet, so it might be a bit difficult to remember it. This one is called fatha, fatha, and it is a ha sound, not the ha sound. So even though I will write it as an H, it is not really the H sound. So do not say fat ha, it is fat ha. I will write it here for remembrance. It is this, not this. We will tackle the names in Arabic once we take the 3rd lecture, which involves seeing how each letter is drawn with respect to its position within a word. This diacritic, which is always beneath the letter, is called kasrah. Kasrah. And that does have the H sound in it. This one doesn't really have, because this letter does not exist as well, but people tend to transliterate it with a DH. Dam, meh. And this is not the D sound, it is the dad sound. The word starts with a dad. So it is this, not this. Lastly is sukoon. Sukoon, or sukoon. You can write it however you wish, as long as it is pronounced correctly, the sukoon part, or you can even add an E at the end, or 2 U's or 2 O's. It is up to you how you wish to write it in English, because ultimately it is an Arabic word. And in Arabic, words are always written the same. They tend to be different in English because of absences of the absence of certain letters and certain sounds. So, if you would like to join me in an exercise, what I would like to ask of you is to prepare your notebook, and we will write the entire alphabet as we did last time, except this time I would like for you to write the letter 3 times. So if we're at ba, for example, you will write ba, ba, and ba. Then ta will be the same. Ta, ta, and ta. Maybe I should leave the sukoon. Yeah, we will cover the sukoon separately because we need to perform something to help with the pronunciation. So we will cover those 3 first, the fatha, the kasra, and the dhamma. Then we will tackle the sukoon and the 5th or the fusion type at the end or after we finish with the 3. So I will write each letter 3 times. If you would like to join in the exercise to help practice your handwriting, feel free to do so. If not, I will be supplying the list with the video as with the previous video. So this will probably take a while because I have to undo all of this. Actually, maybe erasing will be faster. Actually, that is much slower. How do you increase sizes? Okay, I'll just... I think undo is better. Much faster. Remove, 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 remove. So with every with every diacritic, we will also cover the pronunciation of the letter. So how would you pronounce a hamza or an alif with a fatha, with a dhamma, and with a kasra? So we will cover fatha, kasra, dhamma in that order. So we will start with alif with a fatha, alif with a kasra, alif with a dhamma. And if you recall from the previous lecture, when you see the hamza with an alif, this automatically becomes a consonant, which means that you will be enunciating the hamza, not the alif itself, as we covered in the previous video. And as you can see, with regards to the hamza, you always put the hamza beneath the alif when there is a kasra. The hamza stays at the top with the diacritics that go above the letter. All the remaining letters will be written the same for all 3 or all 4 diacritics. This one is an exception when it comes to the kasra. Now with the fatha, you get the A vowel sound. So if I want to pronounce alif with a fatha, I will say the same pronunciation as A in French or German. So I believe it would be written like so, if you wish to transliterate it. So as you can see, the fatha is an extension of, or not an extension, you could say it is a derivative of a vowel. So the fatha is similar to the sound a, which is the alif vowel sound, or A. The kasra here will be the E or I sound. Actually, I will write it above the letter so I can write the transliteration at the bottom. This is E. 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 So I guess you could say it will be pronounced as such. E. The kasra is a derivative of the vowel E/I, depending on the pronunciation here, which is the ya in Arabic. Lastly, we have the dhamma, which is a derivative of the O or the U and the waw in Arabic. If I want to pronounce an alif, or technically the hamza, with a dhamma, I would say oo. Oo. I believe that is the correct way to spell oo in French. As I said, I do not remember my French in all honesty, but that is the transliteration of it, oo. So alif with a fatha is a. Alif with a kasra is E. Alif with a dhamma is U. Fatha is a derivative of the vowel alif. The kasra is a derivative of the vowel ya. And the dhamma is a derivative of the vowel waw, which means that the vowel alif is with an elongation. The vowel ya is yi with an elongation. The waw is woo with an elongation. So probably add an extra letter here for the vowels. The vowels themselves. We will come to that later on. So let us delete all of this. Bye bye. So we will we will write alif, fatha, alif, kasra, alif, dhamma. And we will repeat this pattern for all the other letters. Now, next is ba, the letter ba. Ba with a fatha, ba with a kasra, ba with a dhamma. This is ba. Ba with a fatha is ba. Ba with a kasra is B. Ba with a dhamma is bu. Ba, bi, bu. So if you see while you're reading a ba with a kasra, you will pronounce it B, and so on and so forth. Arabic originally did not have diacritics, but they were added alongside the dots to help non-Arabic speakers who were entering Islam learn the language easier, because they were somewhat confused reading letters without any markings on them. It was quite confusing since Arabic is a spoken language, not a written language. So when they started implementing the grammatical syntax and rules for the language, they started adding the extras, the diacritics and the dots, to help non-Arabic speakers, or non-Arabic Muslims, I should say. Next we have ta. It's saving, okay. Ta with a fatha, ta with a kasra, ta with a dhamma. Ta with a fatha is ta, the same as the letter's name. Ta with a kasra is T, or T. Ta with a dhamma is tu, or tu. Ta, ti, tu. Okay, so let us, why is the cursor, there we go. The pan shape, écoute, or graph. Pan shape and the under écoute, or graph. And the pan shape with the small waw. Hopefully I can fit the 3 letters here. We have tha with a fatha, tha with a kasra, and tha with a dhamma. Tha with a fatha is tha, the same as the letter's name. And remember, tha from the word thought. That is the sound we are aiming for. Tha with a kasra is thi. I will write an extra letter to differentiate it from the word the. And remember the th, the sibilant sound. Tha with a dhamma is thu. Tha, thi, thu. And this is not the slang the, but with the. This is not a rap song. Or a hip-hop / R&B. I mean, I do not know if they use those, if you use that word. Probably they do. Okay, so I'll try to squeeze them here. The, sorry. Thu. Then comes the letter Jim. Jim with a fatha. Jim with a kasra. Jim with a dhamma. And remember that jump, that that is what we're aiming for. So this with Jim with a fatha is J. Jim with a kasra is G, or the letter G. Jim with a dhamma is Ju. J, G, Ju. So, J, G, Ju. The letters are small because I am writing on a small canvas size to try and fit all the letters in one frame or in one screen to avoid scrolling upwards and downwards and left and right. Next letter is Ha. Ha with a fatha is Ha, the same as the letter, and I will not write HA because that is the incorrect transliteration, sorry. Ha with a kasra is He, and you will probably see people write it as such. That is also incorrect. Ha with a dhamma is Hu, not Who, Hu. But that is also incorrect. Ha, He, Hu. Next letter is Kha. Kha with a fatha, Kha with a kasra, Kha with a dhamma, and remember this is the spitting sound that we are aiming for. Kha with a fatha is Kha, and this is probably how they translate it, but it is incorrect because people say Ka, not Kha. So for example, the word Khan is actually Khan. Yeah, or Khan, but Kha with a fatha is Kha, not Kha. Some slang dialects in Arabic say Kha, not Kha, which is also incorrect. Remember, it is a heavy letter, so the fatha, the sound with the fatha will be heavy as well. And most of the letters so far, the letter with the fatha is the same as the letter's name. Kha with a kasra is Khi, and this time it is not heavy because it has a kasra. Normally, heavy letters tend to be slightly lighter or softer with a kasra. The most prominent difference you will hear is in Kha, Khi. But again, I'll just cross it out just to remind you that it is not Ki. You have to say Kh. And lastly, kha with a dhamma is khu. But again, it is quite difficult to teach this language with Latin alphabet because these letters do not exist, unfortunately. So I hope I am explaining this clearly, or as clear as I could muster. Kha with a fatha, kha with a kasra, kha with a dhamma. I may have to split this video into two separate subdivisions as the previous video because I may have to leave soon for another undertaking. I will see what happens. Next letter is dal, and as we said, you can write it 90 degrees or with a slant. It is up to you. So dal, 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 dal fatha, dal kasra, dal dhamma, and that is the D sound. Dal with a fatha is de. Dal with a fatha is de, as if you're saying dan but without the N. Dal with a kasra is D, or D, like the song did D. Dal with a dhamma is do. Da, di, do. Dal or da, di. Let me draw this closer so it doesn't cause confusion. And do. Then the next letter is ذال, which is the TH sound in the or the, that, then. That is the actual TH sound. ذال with a fatha is the, or this one. So you could use the hip and trendy one or the actual article. ذال with a kasra is the, as in you, which is Old English if I recall. ذال with a dhamma is thu, not thou this time. Thu. The, thu. I probably will put the sukoon in a separate video, we'll see. The, oh, that looks like a zay. The, thu. Next letter is ra. Ra. Ra fatha, ra kasra, ra dhamma. Ra with a fatha is ra, the same as the letter's name. And it is not ra, it is ra. So I'll cross the transliteration to remind you that it is a heavy R, not a light R. Ra with a kasra is ri. Ra becomes softer with a kasra, always. It will always be ri, not ri, ri. Ra with a dhamma, back to the heavy part, ru. And I'll cross this out to remind you that it is a heavy R, not a light R. Ra, ri, ru. Forgive me if I am compacting or congesting the letters. We covered writing the letters in the previous lecture. Sorry, I added to avoid bothering people with a long video. I will simply write the letters with the diacritics to highlight them. Next letter is zay. Make the dot heavier or more prominent. Zay. And that is the Z sound or Z sound. Zay with a fatha is Z. I believe German speakers who are speaking in English say the word the as Z, perhaps. At least that is what I see in video game. I have never seen a German speak English with an accent. They would always speak it correctly. Because when I was learning German, my teacher was actually German, and they said the word the. Z with a kasra is Z. So the American Z, Z. Z with a kasra, sorry, is zoo. Or the menagerie, the location where you collect animals, unfortunately. Animals should live in their natural habitats, not in confinement. Z, Z, zoo. Then the next letter is Sheen. Sheen with a fatha, Sheen with a kasra, Sheen with a dhamma, and that is the S sound or the C sound depending on its pronunciation. Sheen with a fatha is sa, as in sad, but without the D. Sheen with a kasra is si, with your eyes. Sheen with a dhamma is su, or su, which is Japanese for water, I believe, or was it sui? I believe it is su. I believe it is su, yes, not sui. So for those who watch Naruto, Soton is... Oh wait, they say Soton, not Suton. Never mind then. Ignore that part. Su. Actually, this looks like so. So... Su or SU. Yep. Su. Se, si, su. Se, si. Actually, let me just write it here. Si and su. Next we have Sheen. Which is the SH sound. Sheen with a fatha is she. Similar to what Persians refer to their king as Shah, but without the H. Shah. Sheen with a kasra is she, the pronoun. Sheen with a dhamma is shu. Or shu, if you wish to shoo someone. I believe that this is how it is written, or is it with two O's? Let us go with the known one, or at least the one that I know, not the onomatopoeias. And I think it is saving. Oh, okay. She, she, shu. So we have she, 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 Dhamma, Kasra, Fatha. Let me drop it to the side here just a bit to differentiate it from the Kasra and the Dal above it. Next we have Sad, which I honestly do not have a transliteration for it because it does not exist. It is a heavy scene. Sad, people tend to transliterate Sad as PS, except instead of having a silent P, it is actually indicating a heavy S or a heavy scene. Sad with a fatha is saw. I'll just write it there, but cross it out to remind you it's a heavy S. Saw. Sad with a fatha is saw. Sad with a kasra is sui, not sui, sui. Do not add an O to it. It is not sui, it is sui. Sui, a heavy C. Sui, sui. Sad with a dhamma, oh, let me cross that out to remind you that it is not actually that. Sad with a dhamma is su, but I'll cross that out. This letter is difficult to teach. It would be easier in a personal or direct approach, but through online tutorials it will probably be difficult. So I apologize in advance for my shortcomings. Dhamma, Kasra, and Fatha. If you draw the Dhamma without the space, just like that, that is also correct. You do not have to make the space in the circle. You can blank it out a dot and then do the rest of the waw. Next is Dad, and that is referred to as DH, but that is misleading and also incorrect. Let me cross that out. Dad, Dad. Dad with a fatha is da, but this is incorrect transliteration because the letter does not exist. Dad with a kasra is di, but again, this is a close approximation. Dad with a dhamma is du. And I'll cross that out as well. Okay, so let's write it. Where's the cursor? Write it here. Dad with a kasra and a dad with a dhamma. I'll probably have to scroll downwards because I am running out of space.